Coach, just starting with Grayson Allen, what did you see from kind of the hustle that he showed there at the very end and not giving up?
That was it. That play, game changer. That's how it goes. Some nights it's just not your night, but the ability to move on, move to the next play, make winning plays, and after that make the free throws. Says a lot about who he is as a competitive person. We need everyone. Tonight, down the stretch, Grayson really helped us.
Coach, the defense on Brunson on those 3 straight possessions, just speak to what you guys were able to do on that end to lock him, to force him into turnovers and have that kind of stretch against a guy that has been the clutch guy in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of everyone. Obviously, Dylan starting on him. There's a reason why Dylan started on him. We wanted to set that tone, try to pick him up best we could, put some size on him, and that Grayson possession was Oso that was on him. So he's an incredibly tough guard. He's so unique, especially when he gets in the paint. They only hold him for 4 free throws. Our ability to switch, put multiple guys on him. He's tough. They're a tough offensive team to guard, and I thought we did a really good job in that second half.
I wonder how were you weighing Oso and Mark, especially when the Knicks went with the jumbo lineup. What went into the thinking of maybe sticking with Oso there at the end?
Yeah, some nights it's easier than others. That was a toss-up, I think. We talked about it multiple times, who our 5 was going to be down the stretch. We liked what Oso brought defensively. Saying all that, I thought Mark took big strides in the last couple games playing on the perimeter versus some spacing 5s. It's not easy. He's learning. We often forget that Mark's a younger player that doesn't have a ton of games under his belt. For him to go out there and play those stretch bigs, that's massive growth. So I thought both bigs overall impacted the game in different ways. And then it gets to the end of the game, it's a little bit of feel. But we definitely were split going into it, and then also just kind of kept it going, and then we found ways to get a rebound.
John? Yeah, and Oso specifically, right after he misses those 2 free throws, he picks up Brunson on the switch, and Brunson wasn't even able to get a look, and that's what set up the
Grayson, yeah.
Grayson, can you tell us a little more about that and what you were hoping he'd be able to do on Brunson there?
Yeah, I think that's why we did stick with him. His ability to switch, and we've challenged him not only just to switch, but then to switch and disrupt. Even in the Houston game, I thought there was possessions there down the stretch on one of the hardest players to guard in the league where he was able to switch and disrupt and really cause some turnovers or create havoc. So it's a luxury that we have those bigs that we can go either way. Tonight we decided to switch more. Obviously with Towns on the perimeter a lot, it makes it easier to switch. But again, it's the ability to move on to the next play, which is so hard. Obviously, he's thinking about the free throws, and then his ability, his next possession, you can't hide, especially at the 5 in this game. Both ends, the 5's going to be involved every single possession. Did a great job moving on.
Was that just a situational read by him that he moved up to take away the 3?
Yeah, I think it was a 3 or 5 point game. It's definitely a no 3 defense situation. We're trying to take away the 3-point line. That's the tough part. You start saying no 3s, take away the 3-point line, but also guard those dynamic off the dribble players. So that's a challenge. Did a great job. Feel like he's had a great month of guarding so many different players, and with those young guys, it's his second year of those experience, these reps versus a first team All NBA player, high level. Great for his growth.
Jordan, it feels like with all of the attention Devin gets, a lot of the attention is on him and the initial decision that he makes off of it. But go to the OKC game, Royce sets 22 screens. He does a lot of stuff in the Houston game and Memphis, and then tonight, being the person that's getting that matchup for him and then executing off the attention he gets. What kind of goes into finding someone that has that feel as a secondary playmaker to keep it advantage once you get into the numbers advantage?
Not sure how you get all your research, but it's impressive that it's a little bit matchup based. And then also we like Royce at the top of the floor. So moving him to the top of the floor really means it just creates more gravity, more space for us when he does catch it. At times, teams put matchups on him that they don't want to switch on the book. And then we want to involve Royce. He's a great screener. He's very physical. He understands the nuances. Is his man trying to stay with him? Usually it's with some type of hedge. And then he's able to get out. And then he's on the top of the floor and shoots it so well. Big shots by him again. All comes down to your superstar making the right play. Book's ability to continue to make the right play in every single situation, really kind of the stir that straws our drink offensively. Like, he just does it game after game after game. His ability to pass, make the right play.
Do you remember the first time you noticed Royce's ball fake or pump fake as an opposing coach?
You know what's amazing is like his evolution as a player. Actually was in a free agent workout before he was even in the league. And he was more like a downhill driving, like he did the stampede where he was in your paint all the time. To see his evolution, again, he's just a competitive player that's evolved over time through work. To see his shift from day one in the league to now, and now he's added that to his game. So it just continually evolves his game. I thought he was really good defensively. We've asked him to play some bigger matchups over the course of the season. Did it again tonight. He was good on both ends down the stretch.
To Steven's point, what do you think it does for the offense and you as a coach to have a guy like that with his level of IQ in those help spots where the ball will find him with how smart he is?
Both. I mean, it's like both ends. He's incredibly smart. He's physical enough to rebound when, again, we're going to be undersized a lot, especially when Dylan's on the ball at times. Makes it even smaller on the back line. Then he's our passer. The pass to Grayson, late game, those are not easy. Just a high-level basketball player with a high level of IQ and skill, which is super helpful.
Coach, you guys went to that double drag a few times down the stretch there. What did you like about that specific look against what New York was doing?
Yeah, you get to the double drag when they don't want to switch that first one. And again, with Royce being at the top of the floor, that helps us. Even if they do switch, then you have your spacer at the top of the floor. And then you have your two shooters on the weak side a lot of times. If they don't switch, you can play pick and roll with the 5, Book gets downhill, and then you have two shooters on the backside. So, again, it's just a little bit matchup-based, but also the confidence that Royce is an incredible shooter, elite shooter with that gravity, a little bit to pull. The last couple of nights we've been able to get the double drag pretty often.
Coach, it feels like the last couple weeks or so, you guys have been in a lot of late game situations. Have you sort of seen either yourself or just the team as a whole sort of grow and adapt to those situations? And where are some of the areas of improvement you've seen over the last couple weeks?
Yeah, we always talk about just like being in those competitive nights against really good teams. So that's been good for our group, good overall growth. Again, we have some young guys, but collectively we don't have a ton of returning minutes from last season. So just being in it together, going through it, and then having honest conversations afterwards. We did it after the Houston and the OKC game in Memphis. We were able to talk through some situations. When you don't have a ton of practice time, we're still being able to be honest with each other and then make it collaborative. Like, they're seeing a ton of stuff out there that we on the bench can't. It's always going to be, how do we score? You know, defensively, we can really guard. I feel really good. It's just offensively, how can we score late game? You're trying to target hunt a little bit, but you also want to play with a little bit of pace. And I thought we got a little stagnant there in the middle of the fourth. They cross-matched, and they put their 5 on one of our wings. So that made us a little stagnant. And then at the end of the game, we were kind of get booked to his spots. And then, again, his ability to make the right pass at the right time is uncanny.
Devin, you guys' defense on Grayson there at the end, I think it was 3 straight possessions, just really put the clamps on. Maybe how much of that is just following into the defensive part, and how much of it is knowing that Jalen can be clutch at the end?
Yeah, I mean, he's a hell of a player. He's a tough stop. I'd say one of the hardest to guard in the league. He's just so shifty. Obviously, he can hit the 3 ball. He scores at all 3 levels. So when he gets 2 feet in the paint, he can make plays too, draw fouls. But we had to up our effort a little bit, and Grayson made some big plays. We couldn't get anything going offensively, so that's what we needed.
Curious, when you're in a game like this where the offense isn't going, but then a pass to Royce, he hits up a huge 3. How much is timely shots necessary when the offense is stagnant like that?
Yeah, we just got to move to the next possession. I think me and Dylan were going back and forth in just isolation. We felt we had a favorable matchup, but the more we can continue to move, keep everybody involved, I think something easier will open up.
Devin, with a lot of the attention that you get, especially late in games this season, it feels like Royce is one of those 2 outlets that you usually are able to hit to make that next decision. him being so consistent with making the right one, oftentimes a quick one, how do you see that just kind of allow for y'all to bridge the gap and leverage the attention you get?
Yeah, those are, like Dwayne just said, those are timely shots. Those are ones that hurt the defense when, you attract two on the ball and, you have two shooters on the backside and he can either swing, and it's Grayson Allen, or, he'll shot fake or fake the pass and knock it down. So just trying to play advantage basketball, keep everybody confident, keep everybody encouraged and to shoot those, even in those moments, because it could be the best available shot that we get.
And then for you in those moments when teams are rolling coverages against you, seeing different things on a near possession basis, in terms of preparation for when those opportunities come up, how do you approach those? Are you just waiting to see what happens? Is there typically some anticipation for you? Like, how's your mental there?
Yeah, it's just experience. I think the game has slowed down for me a little bit each year. And being a young player in the league and getting, the ball thrown into my hands and getting to learn through mistakes. So, not trying to make those mistakes again, take care of the ball and make sure we get a shot on rim. The turnover is the worst thing that we want in that situation.
Book, I know you've emphasized trust throughout this entire season, but it feels like the last couple weeks you guys have been in a lot of late game situations where that trust is necessary. I'm just kind of curious for you, how have you sort of seen either yourself or just the team as a whole grow in just the trust and trusting each other in those late game situations?
I think we all understand we need each other to win big. I think hero ball might be able to get you through one or two games. But once it comes down to the nitty-gritty, once you get deeper in the season or in the playoffs, the defense is tighten up and, you're going to need everybody. All five guys on the court have to be a threat. And, I've been in those situations before and understand that. So I think the regular season is, like I keep saying, building confidence through everybody, letting us learn through mistakes, but still encouraging. If we're open, we have to let it fly.
Book, to your point, is that the type of battle-tested game where you'll feel that in April and May, like those are important to build up to those bigger games?
Yeah, 100%.
When it comes to Oso, the two free throws don't go down, but then he has the defensive possession of the game against Jalen. What have you seen from him in terms of like mentally over his young career so far to have that kind of fortitude?
Yeah, we got to give Oso props, man. He stepped it up. He's gotten better. Every opportunity that he's had out there, and you've seen his role grow throughout. So him and Dylan have their little pity patter back and forth, and Dylan has challenged them on the defense end, and I think that last stop on Jalen was a product of that. He has the capabilities of doing it, to be a versatile defender, to guard 1 through 5, and there's not many people that can do that. So that's definitely a bonus to have on our side.
Has Royce ever gotten you with his ball fake before?
No, we're usually on the same side, even in practice. But I'm sure it's on the scouting report moving forward for everybody.
Are you surprised he still gets people with it, or is he just so slick with it that it doesn't really matter?
I mean, when you shoot 40 from 3, they're probably telling him, run him off the line. So not only is he shooting it from 3, shooting it from 4. He's lane line extended. He's far out, and when your range is that far, teams are trying to run him off the line and get him in the paint. But he just pump fakes one dribble and still lets it fly.
Hey, Book, you're almost halfway through the season. Without KD and Bradley here, how do you feel your leadership role has evolved?
Honestly, I'd say it stays the same. I always communicate. I might come off as, quiet and reserved around you guys. I try to say the right thing every time, but, it's not that way in the huddle. And I think everybody that has played with me, and I've had a lot of teammates understand that. What we do, we keep in-house, and, I know there's times, to encourage, and there's times to lead. So, there's different forms of leadership that I've learned, different ways that are effective for different people, and that comes with time and learning who your teammates are.
So am I wrong to assume that with KD here, because of his stature, you were deferring more to him when he was on the team than now?
No, my communication was the same. Maybe on the court, but that's somebody that you want with the ball in his hands. He's one of the most prolific players to ever play this game, so good person to defer to.